Hello and welcome back to the Beautiful Things channel and what is podcast number 32. I cannot believe that a month has gone by already so quickly. So just a quick one for those of you who are new to the podcast. This is an episode that I film once a month, which is based purely around my knitting and my crochet and any yarny adventures that I might have. The rest of the month you'll find me on the channel doing sewing and craft related videos, reviews, fabric hauls, makes videos, etc, etc. But my knitting and crochet stuff is set to once a month just to give me a bit of time to actually get some things done. So you can find me on most of the social media channels. I am most active on Instagram, as I think on most people. You can find me on there as Arty Farty Mac, or you can follow my teaching adventures at my studio at Beautiful Things HQ, and I'll pop both those links down below. We do though have a really active Facebook group. Now I'm actually not a big fan of Ravelry. Shoot me down now, but I find it a little bit clunky and a little bit dated, and as a forum quite tricky to kind of navigate around and make sure that you've spoken to everybody that you need to speak to, and it's a little bit dated in that respect. It's a great resource for patterns, don't get me wrong, but the social interactions actually just frustrate me. So I am, however, a big fan of Facebook. I have a really active Facebook group that is attached to my studio, but there are members in the group from all over the world, and it's a really nice place where you can just chat about different crafts. You can come on and ask for questions about knitting, crochet, sewing, anything that basically you do, and someone will be there to take your hand and guide you through the process of whatever you're stuck with. Or you can just show us your makes. If you're proud of something and something that you've achieved and you want to show it off, then it's a great place to go. So again, I'll pop the link for that down below. So I'd love to have some more members. We welcome members on a weekly basis on a Monday, but please do answer the 3 entry questions, because if you don't answer them, we won't let you in. Sorry to be so harsh and so tough, but I do get lots of people wanting to join on a weekly basis, and I do try to cut the spammers, and that is the best way to do it. So anyway, let's get on with the podcast. So as you can probably see, I have finished some of my whips. In fact, I've finished lots of my whips, and I've made good progress on some of the other things. I kept my promise to myself, and I have not started anything new this month at all. Let's get on with it. So this is my sock head hat. I'm gonna kind of turn around a bit so you can see it. I love it, I really do. I love the drape. It matches perfectly with my coat, and I'm wearing it lots, which is brilliant. I've managed to get it finished just in time for kind of the end, I think, I hope, of what will be our cold snap here in the UK. So I love the sock head hat. When I was knitting it, when I was just knitting that monotonous round and round and round and round and round, I did say on numerous occasions, I am never ever making one of these again. But, hang on, ooh. When it got to this bit where the decreases started happening, oh my goodness did it fly. In fact, in an evening, I think I went from about here to the top through literally just a couple of episodes of The Good Doctor, which if you haven't watched yet, you really should. Great series. And I finished it. I absolutely love the way the decreases look on the top. I'm going to see if I can get this to focus in for you. Just look at that. How beautiful is that gorgeous starburst? And yeah, for saying I won't do it again, I love it. And actually, if I found the absolutely most beautiful yarn in the world that just needed to be showed off with something really simple, then I would say sock head hat all the way. I'm actually tempted to crack out that Woollen Vine Octopus Garden that I've put into so many different projects and pulled back out again, because it is just so beautiful. Now there are a couple of flaws in this, but unless you were sitting here picking it apart, you wouldn't find them. There's a couple of bits where I've possibly split the yarn or maybe dropped a stitch and picked it up wrongly. I haven't blocked it yet, and I think that they may well come out in blocking, but I've been wearing this for the last few weeks, unblocked. So I'm not worried about it. At the end of the day, it was a long-winded project, but I'm really, really pleased with the outcome. And a little bit of the odd hick here and there just gives it that handmade feel. Anyway, before I continue, I'm gonna go put my hair back up. And by the power of magic, I've gained a scarf, or a shawl, should we say. So this is the Fronds shawl, which I started a few weeks ago as part of a class at my studio. I am using, or I used, should I say, the new Batik Swirl by Stylecraft. And this one was in shade 3731, which is Stargazer. It's incredibly soft. And actually I was surprised to find that there's wool content in this. I assumed it was an acrylic yarn. I didn't actually look at what the yarn content was, the fibre content. But it's 80% premium acrylic and 20% wool. So I think it is superwash, because it does say you can wash it at 30 degrees, but I think I'd still be careful with it. It is really nice. I'll take it off to show you. I was concerned about the colour changes, because people had said with these cakes that they were quite abrupt colour changes, but I don't think that that's a bad thing actually. It seems to have worked itself out quite nicely, and I don't think that they're that abrupt. There is a bit of colour change, so I'll show you here. So this is the colour change where my little finger is. So you can see there's just a little section which kind of blurs in and blends in. And I don't think that's too jumpy. I think that's because this yarn, the way that it's dyed up, is a kind of mottled tweedy colour. I know some of the Karen cakes that are like solid colours, it really does just suddenly go from one colour to the next. And it doesn't blend from, say, a green to a grey, which is more natural. It will go from bright yellow to purple. So it is literally wherever you get to, bang, it looks like you've made a mistake. But I think that you can get away with these. My mum has also done one in the boutique, but she's done the purple and grey colourway, and it looks really nice. So it's exactly the same. So I really like this pattern. It does hook up really quickly. I think this has taken me probably a month, but that's just doing the odd hour here and there. So it is a really, really quick one. It's the second one that I've made in the last 6 months. And I just love the way, you can see why it's called the Fronds shawl, because you've got this lovely edge, but they're all lovely and springy and pointy. And my mum said that she was going to block her shawl, and I said, don't do it, Mum, because if you block these, they'll lose their lovely curl. And I think that's what gives a really nice effect to the shawl. So the Fronds shawl is by the Crochet Project. It's a really, really nice pattern. It's very, very simple once you get going. The first 8 rows is a bit tricky to get your head round. I've actually rewritten the pattern when I teach it, just to break it down and make it a lot more easy to understand. But once you've got over those first 8 rows, then it is just a simple 2-row pattern repeat. We do have another Fronds shawl class coming up, so if you would like to come and do it and you live in Essex, then I will again put the links down below for you. We do insist that you buy your own copy of the Fronds shawl pattern though from the Crochet Project, because it is very much my ethos and value that I will not outdo a designer from the money that they are due for writing and spending time creating a pattern. So fear not, although I'm going to teach you how to do it, you will still need to buy the pattern. So if you're interested in that, again, links below, but this is the Fronds shawl by the Crochet Project. Now you're all wondering, did she finish the owl hat? And yes, I did, but I haven't got it here. I got all my filming stuff ready and in a bag the night before, and the one thing I didn't do was put the owl hat in, because it's actually in Izzy's school bag. She's gone off to school today and the hat's still in there, so I haven't got it to show you. But what I will do is pop a little picture right here, and you can see that the owl hat is finished. And there it is, modelled by Isabel and me. So it's done, it's dusted, it's being worn. The owl hat is complete. So after 2 years of that being in my whip basket, it is finally out, evicted, gone. So that's all my finished objects. I do have, I guess I'm going to call it a half object because it's just got one thing that's left to be done. So you may remember in the last podcast I showed you my disastrous advent mittens. That had gone horribly wrong, that I'd managed to cut a hole into and wasn't very happy with. Well, I gave them to my lovely mum and she unpicked them to the point where I'd gone wrong, pulled them all apart and sent them back to me. Now I'm going to pop a couple of pictures up here now. This first one was how the yarn came back to me. How beautiful is that? So she laid it all on this little tray in the order that she'd taken them out in tiny little bundles and taped it to the tray so I wouldn't mistakenly pick the wrong colour. So sweet. Thank you, Mummy. And the next one is all of the mittens that are pulled back to a point she could get them back to. And she's, bless her, picked up all the stitches as best she could on a random amount of DPNs and all sorts of other different things. Oh!
First register in your Alexa app.
Those things just come alive, literally out of nowhere. Be quiet. God, when you're home on your own, you don't need that, do you? Does anyone else have that problem with that? I'm not saying her name. Anyway, so back to the picture. All on little DPNs, lots of different needles. She picked up all the stitches and I'd said to her, you need to have 64 stitches, and that's how they came back to me. So thank you again, Mum. I popped them back on my needles, I knitted them back, and I used the last 2 colours to knit the toes, and they are now back to socks. So here we go. Ta-da! But they seem tiny. Now with my last advent pair that I did, I knitted 8 rows of every single colour, but I did do a fish lips kiss heel, so I could calculate that I needed 2 colours for the toe, 2 colours for the heel. I knew how long my foot needed to be, so I worked out how long to make the sock. Because I wasn't going to do that with these, I couldn't do that maths, but I did go down to 6 rows, and maybe I shouldn't have done because they now seem very, very short. So I think what I'm actually going to do is make these Izzy's, because she's obviously got littler feet. So I'm going to put in a, forgot what they're called, afterthought. Irony. I'm going to put in an afterthought heel into these, but before I can do that I need to darn in all those pesky ends and block them. I'm not going to ask Mum to do it. She might watch this podcast, she might offer, so I might just leave them for a few days and see. But if she doesn't, I will darn them all in, and then I will get those heels put into them. I still have heels to put into my Beautiful Things pink, brown and green socks that I knitted after Yarndale 2 years ago as well. So I will probably do those as a bit of a mission and get both of those heels done. I'm not going to make a promise that it will be done by the next podcast because I've got lots happening this month, and I think it's something that does need a little bit of time, consideration, and possibly need to set a day aside to do. But I will aim to get them done as soon as possible. But these will certainly have their ends darned in, and I will have worked out where I want the heels to go by the next podcast. So I'm just putting that out there for you. The only other thing that I've been working on is a little bit more of my hitchhiker shawl. I haven't done a great deal, but this is next off the needles, hopefully. It's what I'm going to be concentrating my efforts on if I can. So I've done quite a bit more. It's on its needles, so it's tricky to show you. But you can see it really is beautiful. There's a gorgeous gold stellina running through this yarn as well, which I don't think you can see on camera, but it's so pretty, and I'm really loving that. So I'm going to work really, really hard to get that finished. What I like about the hitchhiker is because it is just a simple 8-row pattern repeat, is you can kind of do 8 rows and then put it down for the evening, and then do another 8 rows and put it down for the evening. So you're just doing small chunks at a time, so it's quite manageable. So that's everything that I've been working on this month. There are some other whips that I mentioned last month that are still in the basket. They haven't come out, they haven't been finished. I'm going to concentrate working on those over the course between February and March's podcast. I've got quite a bit of travel coming up in the next few weeks, so I really do need something very simple and very easy that I can take with me while I'm traveling. And so I am going to allow myself to cast on something new. Now, I mentioned in the last podcast that the lovely Saz from Cast Yarns was going to be sending me some yarn so that I could work on a particular project, and she has done that. So let me show you. This is her yarn that she has dyed when she was first getting started, kind of coming up with her colourways. Now, I can say this to you now because I know she's announced it to the world on social media, but her colour and her first season collection, should we say, is being launched on Good Friday, and it is a Wizard of Oz themed collection, and she has revealed some of the colourways already, and they are absolutely amazing. But this particular one that I'm going to show you is an early development of one that she's called A Man Made Out of Tin. And it's a beautiful, beautiful silvery grey with loads of stellina in it. It's super, super sparkly and it's absolutely gorgeous. But when she was dyeing up her trials, she made some that were a little bit lilac-y. The colour wasn't quite right. So I'll show you. So you can see there's a little bit of purple, a little bit of lilac going through this, but you can see the stellina. So it's not right for her collection, obviously, because she didn't want any purple in it, but it's still beautiful yarn, and I couldn't bear to see it go to waste. So it was just perfect for something I wanted to try. So we did a little deal. She sent me 2 of these, and I made her a project bag out of the very, very last of my alpaca fabric. And I posted that up to her in Nottingham, and she sent the yarn down here to Essex. So the plan with the Man Made Out of Tin, I'm not going to call it gone wrong, but the Man Made Out of Tin version 1 is that I want to make the Zooty Owl road trip shawl. Now, I've made it a couple of times before using Stylecraft Cabaret just with acrylic, and that is what the shawl is designed to be made with. However, I think it would look really, really nice in a fingering weight yarn because it would be quite drapey. But I don't know whether I would get it out of 1 skein or possibly 1.5 or 2 skeins. So Saz has sent me 2 skeins so I can do a little bit of a trial and see. It's another one of the shawls that we teach as a class at Beautiful Things, and it would be really nice to be able to give people the opportunity to work with either a double knit or a fingering weight yarn. So that's why I want to do a test so that I can make sure that I can put the yarn requirements on the website before I launch further dates. So I'm going to make it with 1 skein, see what sort of size it comes up. I think personally I'm going to prefer it to be bigger, but then I can give people the option of either working with 1 skein or 2 skeins depending on what size they want. So it's going to be a bit of a trial and tribulation to work out what hook size I want to use to get the right kind of drape. But it's the main reason that I really wanted a colourway that was just a plain colourway with a tiny bit of variegation in it, because it would work really, really nicely for that road trip shawl. So I'm going to start this one in the next couple of days. I'm going to cake this up over the weekend. But I'm going to keep it to one side. I'm going to get going on it, make sure that I've got the right hook size and that I'm comfortable with how it's working out. And then I'm going to put it to one side because I'm actually going on a bit of a road trip in March that I could do with having some really simple, easy crochet to take with me to work on. So I'm going to make a start on it. So I'll show you how I got on in the next podcast probably, but it won't get much further until a little bit later into March. So I have got a few more acquisitions to show you, not a lot, just a little bit, but the beady-eyed amongst you will have noticed that I went to Unravel last weekend at Farnham Maltings. Now it is a really, really nice show. I went on the Sunday and it was considerably quieter than the weekend or the Saturday by the looks of it. The majority of podcasters and kind of knitty, yarny celebs, shall we call them, went on Saturday. And by the looks of their Instagram feeds and their videos that are coming out, it did seem really, really busy. But the Sunday was quieter, so it was nicer in my opinion. And I went with something in mind to get, because otherwise, knowing me, I would end up just buying all the pretty things and not doing anything with it. So I stuck to my guns. The things that I wanted to buy for was the Truly Hooked honey cardigan that I've had on my radar for the last few months. I wanted to buy yarn for a garment, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail with you because I'm going to be launching a Knitalong. And I was looking for more minis to add to my collection to make my Truly Hooked mini shawl. Wait for the train to go past. So I was really pleased. I had a good look around. I knew I just wanted plain yarns, which seems absolutely criminal really when you've got so much beautiful hand dyed and variegated yarn available to you at these shows. But I needed plain because both of them were for garments. I didn't want to have any ugly pooling. I didn't want to have to change skeins all the time. Wanted to make it nice and easy. So I headed to John Arbon because I knew that was going to be a stand where I was going to be able to get a plain colour. I was going to have a choice of colours because they grade everything sort of through the rainbow, which is lovely. And I knew that I would be guaranteed really good regular dye lots. So I headed over there first of all, saw the yarn that I loved, but kind of worked out how much of it I needed, realised it was on a really good deal, so I was going to get a really good price, but then walked away. Looked at the rest of the show with the idea that if it was still there when I went back, and if I hadn't found anything else that I preferred, it was meant to be. And it was obviously meant to be because I spent the whole morning wandering around, didn't find anything else that I loved, and when I went back, thankfully, it was all still there. So let me show you. Oh, I should also say, check out this gorgeous jelly bag that I bought in the Farnham Maltings shop. It takes me right back to my childhood. I absolutely love it and it's perfect for my projects. So this is the Truly Hooked Frisky shawl. It's made with minis and one skein of plain yarn. I've got a gorgeous skein of grey yarn that I want to use. These were the 2 minis that I bought at Waltham Abbey. So I took them with me and I wanted to make sure that whatever I bought went with them. And I bought this one. This is by Giddy Aunt Yarns. And it's a gorgeous shade of lilacs and purples. You can see it goes really nicely with those 3. So this is going to be a project that I'm going to add to over time. So I've got Fibre East, I think, is probably the next yarn show coming up. I may stumble across a yarn shop before then, but I'm not sure that they will sell minis. So until I've got my 5, this won't be started. But I think once it is started, it will be super quick to hook up. So it's going to be a slow collection that I'm building. And then this here is the honey cardigan by Truly Hooked. It's in Verity's book On the Hook, which I picked up when I was at the Nottingham Yarn Expo. Again, I wanted a plain yarn for it and it needed to be DK. So I've gone for John Arbon Knit by Numbers, and you can see I've picked this beautiful dusky pink colour, which I think is going to be really nice. It's Knit by Numbers number 65. For anybody who is interested, and I've got 3 skeins of that, and it should be more than enough to do my Truly Hooked. I think this was about £9 something a skein, I can't quite remember. So it will be just about 30-ish pounds for a garment, which I don't think is too bad at all. I was debating buying high street acrylic to do the first version of this if I didn't find the double knit that I wanted at the show, because I certainly wasn't going to be spending, you know, upwards of £15 a skein on a cardigan that I didn't really know was necessarily going to work very well. But I think this is a good price. There's enough yarn here that if I do start a cardigan and it does start to go horribly wrong and I don't like it, there's enough here that I can knit it into something else. So I was quite pleased with that acquisition. So the next yarn that I want to show you is for a knit-along. Now, if you are already in my Facebook group, you will see that we did announce this earlier on in the month. I'm going to be casting on the worsted Boxy by Joji Locatelli. I think I got that right. I was looking for a jumper that was simply top down and really, really easy. I didn't want to use fingering weight yarn. I wanted something that was going to knit up really quickly and would be nice and drapey and comfy to wear. So thank you for all of your recommendations, those of you who recommended things to me. That is what I've decided I'm going to cast on. And that is what I've bought the yarn for. So I'm going to allow myself to cast that on in the next couple of days, and I'd love it if you'd like to join in with us. If you would like to join in and knit the Boxy cardigan or jumper, all you need to do is join our Facebook group. And if you go to the pinned post, once your membership has been approved, you'll find there's a link to the chatter thread in the pinned post at the top of the page. And so that's where you can talk as much as you like about your creations, what yarn you've got. If you're having any problems, you can ask for help, and we will all be on hand for you. Now, I'm not going to give an end date for this project, purely because you know me, it could take me forever, it might take me 5 minutes. So it's going to be an ongoing knit along. You can cast on any time from now. And just make sure that you go and join the group and let us know what you're going to be making, what yarn you're going to be using, and join in the fun and chatter. So let me show you what yarn I'm going to be using. So I bought this Aran. So I haven't obviously got worsted weight. We live in the UK, so Aran is the nearest thing to it. It is 100% merino. Again, it's from John Arbon, and it's their Aran in grass green. It's a beautiful colour, as you can see. Now, this was available as a show special. It was the only Aran that they had on their stand, and it just so happened to be in this colour that I love. Now, it was a show special at only £7.50 a skein. Now, we worked out the maths, myself and John Arbon himself, and worked out that I needed 7 skeins. And he very kindly offered them to me at £50 for the whole lot. Now, I now know why that is. When I went back to get my yarn, I spoke to a different chap on the stand, and I discovered that this was a mistake. Now, John Arbon don't normally do an Aran range, and he did explain to me the whole process of how it happened, but it was like he was talking another language, because he was saying things like, we spun this and then we folded that and we folded these together and we spun these together and then this happened, and then we realised that the weight was wrong. And anyway, they made a mistake in the mill and this got produced, lots of it. They absolutely loved it, didn't want it to go to waste, obviously, so they brought it along with them to unravel as a show special, and lucky old me managed to get my hands on it. So I don't know if they've got any of this left. They might do, but I do know that John absolutely loves it. He really, really liked it, and he wants to introduce it as a range. So you saw it here first on the Beautiful Things podcast. If they start doing an Aran range in this 100% merino, it was an accident that obviously meant to happen. So I love it. It's really, really nice. It's incredibly soft, really nice and soft, and it's really bouncy. It's going to knit up beautifully. I cannot wait to get this cast on. I must be good though. I have got things that I need to do this week that I must do, but if I've got the time on Sunday, I might sit down and cast it on, because I've got a no plans day. So that's all the yarn related stuff. If you've had enough, you're welcome to just tune out now and leave me. But what I am going to do is just spend 5 minutes talking to you about something that happened to me this week on this here old YouTube channel. And it's something that I wasn't going to do, but on reflection, I feel I need to get it off my chest. So this is really only going to be relevant to you if you've followed me for a little while and you've watched my channel sort of over the past few weeks. But what you will have noticed is that since Christmas, I've been really, really good at regularly posting on my channel. I've been posting every Wednesday and every Saturday, and I haven't yet missed a day. But obviously, to create that content takes time. I've either got to sew garments, to then be able to show them off to you. I've got to knit things to be able to show them to you, crochet things to show them to you. I've got to go to interesting places to be able to do vlogs. And as well as that, I've got to film the content, edit the content, upload the content, and pop loads of stuff in the description so that you can go and do it yourself too. That takes an enormous amount of time and effort. Now, the other day I posted what I am not ashamed to say was a blatant advertisement for my online crochet courses. Now, it's no secret that I am a teacher of crafts. It's no secret that I work for myself. I'm self-employed, and it is what keeps the roof over my head and keeps food on my family's table. If I don't work, I don't earn. Therefore, I have to earn some money. So I posted the advert. It's very, very short. In fact, it's only just over a minute. And you had the choice whether you wanted to watch it or not. If you didn't, don't watch it. And if you did, you've lost a minute of your life. I'm sorry for that. But one person opened the comments thread with a massive outburst of how dare you, almost. How dare you post an advertisement on your channel? I've watched your channel for a while, really enjoy it, but this is just blatant advertising. And yes, it was. But I don't feel that I need to justify the fact for putting that advert up on my channel. I did it because I wanted to sell some more products, because in order to make money to keep my roof over my head and food on my table, I need to earn a living. So here we go again. Wouldn't it be nice if I could spend my whole day sitting in front of this camera, talking to you, editing and uploading these videos and just doing it for free? It would be lovely. But I can't. And I think you'll find that the majority of podcasters and vloggers and sewists that do this too are in exactly the same position. What I don't do though is sneak sales pitches into my videos, and actually that is what the majority of vloggers and sewers and podcasters do. They'll end their posts with, and this is what's going in my shop today, or they'll sneak sales pitches in as along they go. They'll be like, oh, I've made this lovely top, look at the fabric, you can buy it in my shop. I never do that. And so actually I very, very, very rarely sell. Occasionally I might say, you could come along and do this as a class. I think I've done that twice in this particular podcast, but it's just mentioned off the cuff, done, dusted, and if you want to go down and look for more details in the comments, then you can. So I'm not overly salesy. So I didn't feel guilty about posting that little advert, but I was really hurt by the comments. It really got my goat. What I will do though is say an amazing thank you to everybody who literally, obviously felt exactly the same way, came on board and had my back. The comments from you guys following that post were absolutely lovely. There was all my pupils who've done my online course who understand why people are prepared to pay money to learn to crochet rather than do it for free. And they came on and they gave me so much love. They told me how amazing the courses were, how brilliant they were, how well they'd got on, and indirectly supported me and had my back. And thank you so much for that. But please, when you are watching, this is my plea to you, when you are watching podcasts and videos like this on YouTube, please spare a thought for the person sitting on the other side of the camera. They're very likely not doing this for free. Although they love it, and although they really enjoy doing it, and they love communicating with you, and they love the feedback that they get back, they have all got to feed their families. They have all got to keep roofs over their heads. And there will be a reason why they're potentially selling a product or telling you about something. They may get affiliate links from Amazon or other suppliers for the things that they mention. They need to feed their families. So please don't be offended if they pop a little advert in there every now and again. Because at the end of the day, if you don't like what they are selling, promoting, doing, don't watch their channel, okay? So spend some time thinking about how much time and effort has gone into producing whatever you are watching, and think about the reason why the person behind the camera has done what they've done before you mouth off in the comments. The last thing I want to cover is, again, monetization. One of the comments that came back on exactly the same thread was that YouTube pay their creators to be able to create content, and so you should be earning from that. Now, those of you who are fellow podcasters and vloggers and sewists will know, yes, YouTube does pay you, but it doesn't pay you very much. In fact, the money that I earned last month, now I'm going to tell you what I earned. Last month, I earned £94. £94 from YouTube, which is a lovely amount of money. It's the most I've ever earned from YouTube, in fairness. I usually get £30 if I'm lucky, maybe 40, but I got £94 last month. Now, I know the reason for that is because I've been consistent about what I've been producing. I've been doing a lot of sewing videos, and the majority of my followers are people who are interested in my sewing, and I've been getting lots and lots of comments. So I was very, very pleased with that, but I certainly couldn't live on £94 a month. And when you take into consideration the time it took to produce that £94 worth of content, I was probably working for about £1 an hour, if that. Now, the reason that I chose to monetize my channel wasn't to earn money. I monetize my channel because it is one of the only ways that you're actually going to get seen by other people that you haven't told about your channel existing. Obviously, YouTube is there to make money. As a company, it wants to make money, so it wants people to watch your videos. If you don't monetize your videos will sit at the bottom of the pile forever and ever and ever, because YouTube get absolutely nothing out of you being on their platform. So unless you tell people, go and find my channel and subscribe to it, you are not going to climb up the ranks with YouTube, and you'll sit there forever. When you monetize your channel, however, YouTube has a chance to earn some money out of you. And so if it sees you getting lots and lots of viewers, they're going to be clicking on those ads, and YouTube's going to be earning more money. So as you climb up the ranks, it benefits you and YouTube at the same time. So what YouTube then does is it takes your content and goes, oh, that person over there watched a video on sewing recently. They might like to visit Claire's. And it suggests your video to that viewer. And so you get spread out there, and YouTube promotes you because it wants people to watch your channel, because when they watch your channel, it earns money. So YouTube has got my back if I monetize my channel. I hope I made that clear. If I don't monetize my channel, it's never going to get out there, and no one's going to find that I even exist. And I'm going to be talking to 1 or 2 people, and that, to me, is a complete waste of time. I want to be talking to hundreds of thousands of people. So if YouTube's got my back and you have to watch an ad for 2 seconds to be able to watch me, that's why I monetize my channel. So anyway, rant over. Hopefully you're still with me. If you're not, that's absolutely fine. I will be back next month with another knitting and crochet podcast. I will probably schedule to film it in around the end of the month. And in the meantime, if you're interested in my sewing adventures and you want to see what I've been making and what I'm working on and my crafts, then please do subscribe to the channel. As I say, I post every Wednesday and every Saturday. Give this video a thumbs up, because that's another way of letting YouTube know that you've enjoyed it, and it will also share it out there. And if you haven't already, click the little bell that's around here somewhere, because that sends you an email notification whenever I upload. Although, you know, it's Wednesday and Saturday. I'll see you again for another knitting and crochet podcast in a month's time.